All right, this is Brother Luke reporting from Nepal here, and we're on our 6th day of travels throughout the villages here in Nepal, and delivering food and the gospel message to many people. And I just want to say a special thank you to the churches and to the many individuals who sacrificed to make this possible. And I want to introduce you to Brother Adesh, who came along and actually did a lot of the coordinating of all the contacts and making sure everything was prepared to go. Did a fantastic job. And here's Brother Adesh Gurung.
Hello, Jai Masih. This is Adesh Gurung. And since we have been here in Lamjung for 6 days, and our journey is so blessed. Brother Luke and I, we are traveling from Kathmandu to Lamjung for food distribution in my village as well as in Manang. And it was so blessed while sharing the food. We had a time to share the gospel. And Brother Luke did amazing things, and he shared about the gospel, and people were so glad hearing the gospel. At the same time, it was an open door because of the food. And thank you for your support. Because of your support, we could make it. And it was a hard road, very bad road, but by the grace of God, we could come up. So far, we are safe and sound. Thank you for prayer. So we'll see.
I would like to do a quick recap of each day from this exciting journey that Brother Adesh and I were able to take. The first day we left Kathmandu and we drove 6 hours by motorbike to Basi Sahar, and I was very surprised to see how much of the road had been damaged due to landslides during the monsoon season this summer. But the Lord protected us, and when we arrived in Basi Sahar, we were able to meet with a lot of Desh's family, and they are from the Gurung tribe, and it was exciting to be able to meet with them as well as some of the believers from Bethesda Baptist Church there. I was very excited to see one of our young men from the Bible College, Surya, who's been there during the lockdown for the last 4 months, and he's been ministering to the church there, and he was able to go with us on our first village trip. Day 2 started extremely early as we had to go down and arrange to purchase all the food, and we got bags of rice and oil and lentils, as well as soap, sugar, and salt, just some of the essentials for the people in the village. And we purchased enough for over 80 families, and then it was loaded onto the tractors. And then Brother Adesh and I each took another rider. He got to take his dad, and this was the village of Noma is actually where his dad was born and raised. And so of course they had a lot of family there that we were able to minister to. And I got to take Brother Surya from the Bible College, who's been ministering there. When we arrived in Noma, we were able to go down and gather all the people, including the village president, and we were able to disperse the food. But before that, we were able to tell the people why they were able to receive this food, and we were able to tell them that there were Christians who loved God because God loved us first. He gave His Son Jesus to die for us and pay for our sin, and because we love God, we love others, and because we love their soul, we want Christians have given to provide the food for them. And the second reason why we have given is because their soul is valuable, and each person, no matter if they are high caste or low caste or what ethnicity they are, each soul is valuable to God, and that's why we have come to bring them food. Day 3 started out early, and we were able to have some local village snacks for breakfast, and then do a Bible study centered around the gospel and talking about the rich young ruler and what it means to be saved. And it was just really encouraging being able to share that with the Desh's family. And then we were able to get on our bikes and ride back about roughly 3 hours to Basi Sahar, and we were able to do another giveaway for about 30 families, including some of the church members and the local neighbors.
कुरा
day 4, we were able to go from Basi Sahar into the northern district of Manang, and we ascended 3,600 feet to a total elevation of 6,300 feet above sea level. And you can just see here the magnificent views, and getting to ride through water and all kinds of waterfalls, and just very majestic. And we were able to go up there because of a contact we made through from a trip last October, and that had gone on up into Manang, and we had met a Christian fella who worked with the giving permits to the tourists and to the trekkers through the area. And he's a Christian brother, and we were able to go to his home village of Odar and also give out distribute food to the neighboring village of Galinchok. So there was over 60 families were able to distribute food to there. You can see that on the road here there's a bulldozer trying to clear out the road, and there had just been a landslide previous to our coming, actually a couple days earlier. And but thankfully God was in control, and the road was able to be cleared out, and just in a few minutes we were able to get by. But it was interesting because while we were waiting on them, there was a policeman that came up to us and was asking why we were there, and we told them we were from a church here in Kathmandu and we were distributing food. And he told us specifically we were not allowed to sing, and so they're very strict on the Christian work and what is going on here in Nepal. But thankfully we were protected, and we were told that there was, we were informed that there was likely a secret agent that was watching everything that was going on. And it was kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure I know who that person was, and after talking with him I found out his sister had received some food, so I was happy about that. Here's pictured Brother Chetra, who is also from this area, and he is a distant relative of Adesh Gurung. And so here in this village, we were able to spend some time with his parents, who are Buddhists, and it was just a great blessing to be able to have a lot of tea in many people's homes that we were able to visit in. And what a great encouragement it was that evening. About 10 o'clock, I was asked to share a message and just encourage the people that were there and challenge the lost about salvation. The next morning we were able to meet with some of the people because they wanted to say goodbye to us before we left the village, and we had an opportunity to preach from Romans 6:23 about the greatest gift, and that was a blessing to share for about 15-20 minutes and before they bid us farewell. And it was just a blessing because in both of the villages that we were able to go to, we had some contacts with Christians, and Lord willing, there will be some future endeavors for church planting in these places. That evening was the midweek service for the Bethesda Baptist Church, and what an encouraging time it was to be able to meet with them and share all that God had been doing. And I was blessed with the privilege to preach to them and just encourage them that they don't have to fear, because God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble, from Psalm 46 verses 1 and 2. Day 6 was the exciting day because we were going to travel back from Basi Sahar to Kathmandu and see our families, or so we thought. And during this time, I had the great privilege of being able to spend a lot of time with Adesh and be able to talk with him for hours. And sometimes on a ministry trip, we think about all the people that we're ministering to, but sometimes God needs to minister to our own hearts and not forget about those that we are training and working with. And that was a great highlight. And though we got a late start that morning, we thought we have plenty of time to make it to Kathmandu. But we had bike problems, and Brother Adesh's chain broke while he was riding, and though he swerved, he didn't crash, and thank God for the protection there. And the mechanic, while working on his bike, noticed that I had some issues to resolve with my bike. So once we got back on the road, we traveled through the mountains to return to Kathmandu, only to find that curfew had been reinstated for the valley, so we could not get into the city that night. And it was pretty scary driving because it was late at night, about 10:30, and we were riding in rain and lightning, and there had been numerous fresh landslides in our path, and we were able to drive over the rocks and through the waters that were streaming down, and um, it's just amazing to see God's hand with us throughout this entire trip. Finally, day 7, a few days later than what we originally anticipated for this trip, but nonetheless, God brought us safely home. Thank you so much for your prayers. Thank you for giving so that we may be able to show the love of Christ and proclaim the good news of the gospel. And I'm excited about the seeds that have been sown on this trip, and we look forward to following up with these villages in the near future.